Hello students, welcome to next lecture. So this lecture about root locus. The root locus was introduced by W.R. Evans. In this topic we are going to deal to find the stability. We can even find stability by using Routh-Hurwitz criteria also. But Routh-Hurwitz criteria cannot give relative stability. It cannot give any information related to relative stability. It only gives absolute stability, whether it is system stable or not. Only that information we are going to find by using Routh-Hurwitz criteria. By using root locus, we can able to find relative stability of the system. And locus of roots of a characteristic equation as certain parameter of system is varied, like K. K is a system gain. If K is varying, how the system stability is going to vary, that we can able to see by using root locus. And locus is nothing but path traced by roots of characteristic equation. Now we will see what is characteristic equation. Let us consider one system G of S. This is a open loop transfer function. This is R of S input, and I am converting the open loop transfer function into closed loop transfer function with a negative feedback. C of S is output, and closed loop transfer function T of S is equals to C of S by R of S is equals to G of S divided by 1 plus G of S into H of S, and the denominator of closed loop transfer function is called characteristic equation. Now the characteristic equation 1 plus G of S H of S is equals to 0, and G of S H of S is equals to -1. We can write this -1 as a -1 plus J0. Assume that it has some constant and some function in S domain. Here K into F of S is equals to -1 plus J0. This -1 plus J0 is a complex number. This is a real part and this is imaginary part. We can indicate this point in this -1 plus J0. So real part is -1 and imaginary part is 0. So here the magnitude is 1 and angle is 180 degrees. We can write 1 at an angle of plus 180 degrees. So the magnitude of K F of S is equals to 1, and we call this as a angle condition, magnitude condition. And next K F of S, angle of K F of S is equals to 2n plus 1 into pi. This we called as a angle condition. So any point which is there in the root locus path or not, we can find by using this angle condition. By using this angle condition, we can able to find whether one point is at root locus or not by varying S from 0 to infinite. And magnitude condition is used to find the value of K. Magnitude condition is used to find value of K, and angle condition is used to find whether that point is located on root locus path or not. Angles in various quadrant. Let us consider this is real part and this is imaginary part. and we are dealing in S domain. If one point located at first quadrant and this point is A comma B, if I join this point with 0 comma 0, this length is B and this distance is A, and magnitude can be found under root of A square plus B square, and angle can be tan inverse of B by A, that is imaginary value by real value. The same point is in second quadrant, A comma B. This length is A and this distance is B. Here the magnitude is same, that is A square plus B square under root, and angle is somewhat different than first quadrant. We need to write like this. We need to start from this place. Let us consider this is theta 2 and consider this is theta. So the theta value is tan inverse of magnitude of B by magnitude of A. Okay, we should not consider negative sign or a positive sign while calculating angle. So theta is equals to tan inverse of magnitude of B by A. Now the theta 2 will be calculated like this. Theta 2 is equals to 180 minus this angle, that is tan inverse of magnitude of B by magnitude of A. Similarly, if one point is located in third quadrant and the same value A comma B, so from this let us consider this is theta 3 and consider this is theta. So theta will be calculated like this, that is tan inverse of magnitude of B by magnitude of A, and theta 3 is equals to, from this point to this point angle is 180 degrees, then after we have some angle, that is theta. Okay, so we can able to write this is 180 plus tan inverse of magnitude of B by magnitude of A. Sorry, this theta is not this angle, theta is this angle. Up to here 180 degrees, then after we have angle theta, that is 180 plus tan inverse of magnitude of B by magnitude of A. The very important condition here that we should not consider negative sign or a positive sign. Okay, then after, if one point is in fourth quadrant, we have to write like this. If we go in anti-clockwise direction, the angle is positive. If we go in a clockwise direction, the angle is negative. Let us consider this is theta 4. The theta 4 will be calculated like this, that is minus tan inverse of magnitude of B by magnitude of A. Like that we can able to find angles in various quadrant. We will see some simple example. The open loop transfer function of a control system is given by g of s into h of s is equals to k by s into s plus 2. Determine whether the point S, let us consider this is S1, S1 is equals to minus 1 minus j, and let us consider this is S2, S2 is equals to minus 2, lie on root locus. If so, find value of k. We need to find whether these 2 points are in root locus or not. If it is in root locus, we need to find value of k. Let us consider this transfer function, that is g of s h of s is equals to k s into s plus 2, and this is at point minus 1 minus j. So substitute in this k by minus 1 minus j into minus 1 minus j plus 2. we have the point minus 1 minus j we have substituted in this transfer function. Then after k by minus 1 minus j minus 1 plus 2, it will give plus 2 minus j. This point is in third quadrant and this point is at fourth quadrant. So we'll write angle and magnitude. So k by magnitude of this one is root 2 and magnitude of this one is also root 2. And now angle. This angle we need to write 180 plus tan inverse of 1 imaginary value by real value, and for this minus tan inverse of 1 plus tan inverse of 1 and minus tan inverse of 1 will get cancelled. So plus 180, this plus 180, if it is come to numerator, minus 180. So minus 180 is all multiples of 180. So this point is located on the root locus for a given transfer function. Now we will find magnitude of a k by using this magnitude condition, that is k by root 2 into root 2 is equals to 1 and k is equals to root 2 into root 2, that is 2. So k value is 2 and this point is located, or this point is lie on the root locus. Now we will see for the second point, that is s is equals to minus 2. Our transfer function is g of s h of s is equals to k by s into s plus 2. Substitute s is equals to minus 2 in the transfer function. So k by minus 2 plus 2, otherwise we will change this point to minus 1 because it will give 0. So minus 1 plus 2, so k by minus 2 into minus 1 plus 2, so it will give 1, k by minus 2, and we will find angle and magnitude. So magnitude for this k by minus 2 and the angle is, here it is minus indicates 180 degrees. So if it is come to numerator, minus 180 degrees. So minus 180 degrees is odd multiple of 180 only. So this point is also located or a lie on root locus. Next we will find the magnitude of k or value of k is equals to 2. Like that we can able to find magnitude and whether that point is located on the root locus or not. Now we will see some rules to find the root locus. The very first condition, first of all we need to take one transfer function. Let us consider the transfer function is s into s plus 1. We need to find number of poles. Here the number of poles are 2 and number of zeros, the number of zeros are zeros. Number of poles are 2 and the number of zeros are zeros. Then after we need to find p minus z, that is number of poles minus number of zeros. So number of poles minus number of zeros are 2. And next locate, this is S plane, one, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, 1, 2, minus 1, minus 2. We need to locate these roots in the graph. So s is equals to 0, s is equals to 0, here we have one point, and s is equals to minus 1, s is equals to minus 1. We need to indicate poles like this. Then after we need to see root locus path. Okay, whether the root locus path is exist or not. See, here the condition is right side we need to count roots of the given transfer function. Roots means whether it may be poles, it may be zeros. In the right side, the number of poles and zeros should be odd. Then root locus path exists. Otherwise, it will not. See, if I consider one point at this place, I need to see right side of that. There is only one pole. So, one is odd. So, definitely there is one root locus path in between these two. And consider one point anywhere from -1 to infinite. Consider minus 2.5. See right side, there are two poles. 2 is even number, so there is not a root locus path. So, root locus path is exist in between these two poles. We need to see the root locus path. Okay, whether the root locus path is existing or not. It depending upon number of poles and zeros. The summation of number of poles and zeros should be odd. If it is odd, then there is a root locus path exists in between them. If it is even, there is no root locus path. Okay, consider one more example. There is a one pole, 1 0, one pole, 1 0 and another pole. See, if I consider one point at this place, if I see right side of this, there is only one pole, so definitely there is a root locus path between these two. Similarly, I consider one more point at this place, here one pole and here 1 0. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 is even number, so there is no root locus path. And now at this point we have 3 roots, 2 poles, 1 0. So there is a root locus path exist. And similarly like this. Now if a k value, let us consider this transfer function k by s into s plus 1, and the transfer function we will convert into closed loop transfer function s plus 1 plus k. See, if I consider k is equals to 0, if I consider k equal to 0, and we have the equation s into s plus 1 is equals to 0, s is equals to 0 and s is equals to minus 1. If a k value is equals to 0, so it represent the location of poles, and if k is equals to infinite, it will represent the location of zeros. So the root locus path is meant by the locus of the roots from pole to 0. The root locus path is a locus from pole to 0. It is from k value. If a k value is 0, it represent the location of poles. If k value equal to infinite, it represent the value of zeros. So the root locus means the locus is traveling from pole to 0. Let us consider one example. If a number of poles is equals to number of zeros, then all poles starts from poles and terminates at it corresponding 0. It depending upon other condition that we'll see in the next lecture. But if a number of poles is equals to number of zeros, then the pole reaches to 0. Otherwise, if a pole is greater than 0, if a pole is equals to 0, if a pole is less than 0, there is no problem with this condition, that is P is equals to Z, number of poles is equals to number of zeros. There is no problem here. If a number of poles are greater, number of zeros are less. So we need to find P minus Z. P minus Z. Let us consider one example. If P is equals to 3, Z is equals to 1, P minus Z is equals to 2. So one pole reaches to 1 0, remaining other two poles terminates at infinite. It depending upon so many conditions, that is angle of asymptotes and centroid, that we'll see in the next lecture. But as of now, you remember that two poles will terminate at infinite. Similarly, last condition, let us consider number of poles is equals to 2. Number of zeros is equals to 3. Here number of zeros are greater than that of number of poles. So P minus Z, it is 2 minus 3. So it is 1. It is clearly defined that if P value is equals to 2, Z value is equals to 3. Here Z value, number of zeros are greater than that of poles. So 2 poles reaches to 2 zeros. 1 0 is at infinite. One pole at infinite. One pole at infinite. In this case, 2 P minus Z is equals to 2. So 2 zeros at infinite. Similarly, here one pole is at infinite. We need to assume that one pole at infinite. Thank you.